to 79. Welcome back to Double Dose. I am your host, Sir Dipesh.
Nah, you killed me. I'm your host, Daniel.
And we are here to take you from Earth to a tale from far, far away.
Oh, God, that was too good. I couldn't even get through it. I just had to hold back the laughter.
That came out of nowhere.
It's so good, man.
I was trying to do like a nice little Shrek intro.
All right, for those who... Hopefully you've seen the thumbnail and the title, but for those of you in today, we are doing a medieval special for you guys.
Huzzah!
Huzzah, yes. So we're dressed up for those who can't see us. I am an elvish, longish, high elf, fantastical creature. And
Magical.
Dipesh is a...
I'm going to go with... I'm a night elf.
All right, very
Dark
cool.
skin.
He looks semi-regal. I look more like a ninja.
I think actually I'm more dressed as a wood elf, but
Yeah.
let's say I came from a wood elf area and I worked my way up. I hustled hard and I became night elf.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, nice.
Your voice at the beginning reminded me of like McGonagall.
Oh yeah.
Harry Potter.
For sheer dumb luck, 3 points will be granted to Gryffindor.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing in my head. But yeah, today we're doing an episode of just old medieval folk stories.
Medieval special.
We're just going to be diving deep into that era, I'd say.
The Middle Ages.
I got something for you right off the bat.
Let's do it. Let's take it back.
I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Take me back to the time.
It is a video. Okay, so it's a video, but for those, I'm going to explain what it is. Let me just pull up everything because
A video from 1470.
earlier. It's like 2 BC.
Damn.
Nah.
It's just it's just the didn't they theorize that some of those cave paintings that we're seeing where you have the horse's head, 2 horses' heads attached to one body were like the first style of animation because they were made in a cave and you see the horse's head facing down and then the horse's head facing up and looking away. And they said after a while they were like, well, why have they drawn a horse with 2 heads? And then after a while figuring it out, the flickering of a fire created the illusion of this horse moving its head. And they were like,
Really?
oh, wow. They were like able to do a 2-step animation because the flickering of the flame created different light in the cave. And
That's
caused
so
that
interesting.
animation.
I have not heard that.
But that's well before the Middle Ages. We got to fast forward. Take me to where you're taking me.
That's interesting. All right, but so the story I wanted to talk to you about was it's the story about the folklore of little people. Have you heard about this?
I haven't heard about this.
You would have. It's
Hobbits.
So it's they're tiny. They almost look like gnomes or something.
I mean, I have heard of a tribe being found to be like a doll size.
What?
But they're only bones. No actual
cool.
alive ones.
No, well, they could have been just actual genetic little people who are just born like that, and
Tiny.
they were. So I've heard stories of that. People were in other cultures. It's like all the people that are born with dwarfism, they're just shunned out of society,
Right.
and they're just pushed to the outskirts, and they all live there on their own because they have nowhere else to live.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they're just shunned, and then there's like a whole town of little people.
Yeah,
essentially.
I would believe that, and that's why tales are written of these like little people towns.
So yeah, but these people look. What they're talking about is the little people are even smaller than that. They're way smaller than a person with dwarfism. Like maybe like a fifth of the size. They're like that big.
Okay, yeah.
They're like real small, like tiny little people. So little people have been a part of the folklore of many cultures in human history, including Ireland, Greece, the Philippines, the Hawaiian Islands, New Zealand, Flores Island, Indonesia, and Native Americans. The native people of North America told legends of a race of little people, in quotation marks, who lived in the woods near sandy hills and sometimes near rocks located along large bodies of water, such as the Great Lakes. Often described as hairy-faced dwarves in stories, petroglyph illustrations, show them with horns on their head and traveling in a group of 5 to 7 per canoe. Native legends often talk of the little people playing pranks on normal people, such as singing and hiding when inquisitive person searches for the music, It is often said that the little people love children and would take them away from bad or abusive parents, or if the child was without parents and left in the woods to fend for themselves.
Wow. I'm thinking of all sorts of things, man.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm connecting these to all sorts of tales that we've heard throughout history.
So like what do you got, for instance?
Just immediately like thinking of the story of Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And this guy turning, was it? Oh, sorry, no, not Pinocchio. Peter Pan.
Oh yeah,
and all these boys that like forever lived as kids. But what if they were just these adults stealing children away from abusive parents or whatever and living in a safe area? But they're all adults, but they all look like kids to the kids. So the kids were like, oh, the kids took me away.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yes, the kids took me away. Yeah,
because to a kid, they'd be like, oh, the same height as me. They had fun.
Okay, so we are going to have, my friends, today a world first premiere of something that I was able to make. So, for instance, I came across this video, which someone had captured of the little people.
Oh,
and it was like, it looked like the most legit thing I'd ever seen in terms of someone trying to find this story of trying to find evidence of the little people.
Someone's gone on a journey to find, like, it's like
no. They spotted it outside of their house.
Oh,
so the film I'll show it to you in a second. Then I'll describe everything. Okay. Then, my friend, I was able to enhance and bring this video to light we've never seen before.
God,
so,
dude, this is a world first.
Tracked down the original video, downloaded it in the highest quality possible. It's a strip the original video compression VB9 file from YouTube.
Yeah,
did that. Converted everything to PNG.
Yeah.
Stabilized the footage, so it looked like it's because he was shaky. Stabilized all the footage. Himself. Find the sections, convert everything to PNG, upscale the footage in a AI upscaler, put it all back together, zoom in on the part, and find detail that had never been found before.
Dude, you were the person in Law and Order SVU when they're like,
it's like enhance,
zoom in, enhance,
but it's not that quick. It takes ages. Yeah, it took me half a day to do.
I'm excited, man. This is I feel like we're gonna do something groundbreaking right now.
I hope so. Now, because of the AI upscaling, it does look a little bit smeary, but let's watch the video and you'll see for yourself. Okay, here we go. Full brightness for everyone watching on video. I will show it to you. Otherwise, Lord Dipesh will describe everything for you, what he sees.
Yeah, I'll describe.
Here we go. So
okay,
I'll play it right now. Here we go. So, comes out behind this rock.
Okay. So we're in a random area. There's a car park. Someone's got a flashlight on, and they're shining it into this, I don't know, some rubble. Oh, okay. We just saw something peek out and then hide again. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah. That's freaky. What? Wow, okay. So this guy's turning a flashlight on and off, and every time he turns the flashlight on, this little person or creature just goes back into hiding. It's just
peeking behind around a rock, and the creature. Here we go. This is the AI upscaling. You can see. I thought it was a doll at first, but the way its hands move, it's got movement. It's like a real person.
I'll say this though.
Look at that. Look at that.
There's
a second one.
There's a woman that looks very tall, and this could be a child. And what it looks like is she peeks her head out, and then the mum grabs her. Oh, look, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I want to believe. But there's this taller woman next to her. You can see with black hair just at the top.
Let's look again.
Once you do the zoom in area. And so it's like see how the girl flails her arms like she's getting yanked?
It looks like it was another one. It didn't look like it was.
There's someone there. She's taller. Because you can see that. Look at the shadow.
It looks like another person sticking their head over from the corner there.
Yeah.
There. It doesn't look.
Look how much taller she is on the shadow when the other kid's shadow pops out.
But it might be, standing on something. That's what I think.
Right.
But this person is absolutely tiny.
Very small.
That couldn't be more than a foot tall.
I'm trying to figure out. I guess it's hard to see scale because it's rubble and rocks.
I assume that's like the person's mailbox, because at the beginning you can see the rock. That looks like a dog kennel, which would be quite small. So the person could easily stand in a dog kennel.
I'm thinking like 4 foot.
No, dude, that's a dog kennel there. That little house.
But look at the distance,
Dude, the dog kennel, I reckon. But the car's over there. I reckon not 4 foot. The dog kennel must be this tall.
It's about 3 foot.
That's like 2 foot.
2 foot.
Yeah, 2.5.
God damn.
That's like
Big feet.
my legs are taller than that
Yeah, for
when
sure.
I stood up.
Okay.
So that's what I'm seeing is that.
The part that's strange to me, if
So
you go,
that's definitely a dog kennel there. That wouldn't
or
be.
is it their little house?
Nah, that's not the little house.
They found their little house. See this last bit where she goes out for the second time. She's getting yanked back.
There, there's a real zoom.
She flails her hands. See how she's getting pulled away.
If it's a girl.
If it is a girl, yeah.
So let's slow this down. Playback
slow
speed.
down. The way they show themselves, and then the larger one pops its head out and goes and pulls it away.
Yeah.
Ready. You can see.
It's being pulled.
She's been pulled
It's
back.
being
So it's like
pulled.
it's almost like it's not safe, and that's what's making me wonder because that looks like a taller person.
You think it's a woman just
It
hiding
looks
with
like
a kid?
It looks like a woman and a child.
Yeah.
Only because the thing is, if that woman wasn't there, then I'd be more inclined to believe that this is a small person. But because there's a taller person, I'm like, is this a parent and a child?
Okay. Yeah, there was a flash there, eh?
And the shadows show the severe height difference. And why would the taller one be yanking this little one away? You know, she's clearly getting pulled away. Wow, dude, that is
Interesting stuff.
really interesting, and I love the extent you've gone to enhance this. This is so cool.
I could barely see that the other person there, but there was definitely 2 people.
Definitely 2 people.
I think then now potentially that I looked really hard with you because I didn't look at it properly after
Yeah.
I'd done it. That it could be just like a toddler with their mum.
It looks like that, but at the same
But then why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you do that? What was the purpose of the being there? Because in the video they're like, trying to capture this. But then as well, it's like, why wouldn't you just walk there?
I mean, it could just be like someone trying to cross a border, and like a patrolman being like, hey. Also, having it, the thing that's giving it a bit of mysticism and why I'm not concrete that it's a parent and a child is, say it was, why would someone trying to capture them be flicking it on and off like it's not a human and recording?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing to think about.
And the title of this video that I tracked down was just so bizarre and it was spelt wrong.
Right.
And it had no like tags and clearly someone's not like, I captured crazy thing online. It was just like someone barely speaking English, just writing down little people or something like that. That was the only title, very ambiguous, all lowercase, very low quality. I don't know why you would just like cut it up as well, the bits that were useful. Otherwise, he's flicking on and off the light for ages.
Now, you know what? The more I'm thinking about it now, the more I'm theorizing that. It could be because, say, I'm looking at from the perspective of a parent and a child now. Say you're in a very tense situation where, okay, wow, we're about to get captured. Why would I let my child be peeking around the corner? You'd be protecting that child from all costs, right?
Yeah, that's it. Why would you let them
as an adult, you'd be peeking to make sure it's safe. You wouldn't be like standing behind a rock and then just letting your child walk around and then the child pokes its head out and you go, get back here. And then on top of that, you want to try and figure out what you're dealing with here. So you peek out when the light's off. They shine the light, you turn away, and then the light goes off. Why would you go back to have a look? Clearly they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be really dumb.
This is if the scenario is real. This could be just though, let's make a crazy video of us capturing the little people and just get the little boy to stand over there and peek his head around the corner.
Yeah.
Another weird. It could be that, but it could be that. Like whatever the thing was, it was a very small person.
Very small. And dressed quite strange.
Dressed weird.
They had like a whole head
And
thing
like a
going
pointy
on.
head.
Yeah, a little pointy head. Like a little hood with a little point. Like they had been wrapped up.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a very odd video.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went through the comments of the video when I found it, and
It's behind!
The comments were, oh my God, my grandma had horses and they found them with braids every morning. They thought fairies did it, but oh my God, I might have been these little things. I'm shook with the footage. Someone says, I believe you. They live down there in the South America too. I had family friends on the countryside had horses. The little people startle them most nights, and in the morning, the horses often have really little braids in their manes.
Interesting.
Many people were saying about the braids in the horses.
So this is a specific location. People are
South
recounting
America.
these.
South America.
Wow, okay.
And they said the horses always had little braids in the mornings. And he said many times he would catch them in the corner of his eye in the stables.
Yeah, right.
So he was saying his granddad. He says those braids are called fairy knots or fairy braids. It means that the fae have taken a liking to that horse and essentially blessed it. Never untie them or cut the braids. If you do, the horse will become permanently lame. Also, some Slavic countries, farmers would leave a cake out for a few days, and depending on the color of the maggots, that was the favorite color of the farm guardian. If you bought the wrong color horse, they would be tormented to death by the fae.
Oh, right.
The braiding of horses' hair comes up a lot in Celtic fairy lore. Good to leave milk out for them and generally leave them alone. I also think salt is harmful to them. So there was a lot of the folklore about the fairies and the fae and little people, and people saying many stories of they fell into a hole and there was like 100 little people tormenting them.
Oh.
And there was stories of great granddads people were talking about in this thread saying that my granddad fell into a well or like a hole, and then he was tormented and by these little people, tiny little creatures, all pinned him down and said like
Gulliver's Travels.
And said don't come back here or like we'll kill you.
Wow.
And then he went to the doctor, and the doctor said he had many stories and recounts of people coming in saying I went in the woods and I encountered little people.
Wow. And where was this?
All South America.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. And I mean, like, the Amazon is thick as hell. No one knows what the hell's going on in there. So if you want to hide, you go on Amazon.
Yeah. So
wow.
There was.
I kind of want to do some research into this now.
Yeah, it was all this fairy folklore that came in. It's like, why did these things have been around forever? And there has to be some sort of connection of why people are saying these little things.
Yeah.
Like they're seeing
why would there be this many tales?
This many tales of these tiny little people coming into existence or coming across them in life. Wow. And you go to a doctor saying I came across little people like in the forest. What does that benefit you as?
Yeah.
But then having so many stories together of these people saying this happened. Interesting, I thought.
Do you think higher powers are aware of it and they don't want to lean into it because it's kind of like a conservation thing? It's like, we'll let them be so we can monitor them and study.
I don't know if it's always the higher powers.
We're in a modern time, right? Surely
what if it's like they're part of that, the spiritual realm, and they only come in and out, pop in and out, and the more you kind of, become one with the earth, like those Amazonian tribal men who's like chanting and do all that stuff all the time to release their inner chi or whatever it is to get more. The more you get in contact with the spiritual realm, and they're all part of the spiritual realm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, wow.
So that's always my theory, is that we're getting more and more into technology and more into the real world and much more out of the spiritual realm.
Oh, definitely.
When it's like,
we're disconnecting.
you take drugs or something and you can like achieve this state of mind that's like, what does this mean? Like, it's not just your brain doing crazy things. Because so many people have the same visions and the same ideas and the same concepts that come to them.
Yeah.
Or they're like channeling into something different. Like, that theory you were telling me of that we're all antennas essentially channeling into this frequency of existence that's now.
Yeah, I was guessing, like, I definitely think that we could all channel into very specific things. And when you're taking drugs, you're essentially
expanding that kind of...
Like, different drugs are different keys.
Yeah.
And you don't know what like, door you're opening. So you're peeking into this realm that you cannot understand how you got into it. But if you were to do it the correct way, or through channeling, meditation and stuff like that, then you're opening it with purpose, and you're going there specifically. Where drugs, you're just like, oh my god, I'm just seeing things. I don't know how I got here. I can't make sense of it.
Yeah.
And you just lifted the veil.
Yeah, it's like. So what I think, like when people say they take drugs, is what I think is that your consciousness is in this kind of spectrum, and let's say the spectrum is like that wide. So you've got
Dan's showing a big fishy caught for those listening.
Yeah, so you've got this huge spectrum, and the human existence and our brains can only tap into this like tiny frequency.
Yep.
It's just like a radio, right?
Yeah.
With a radio, you can only tune into some sort of frequency, but then when you realize, oh, there's actually microwaves, there's like X-rays, there's all these type of gamma rays and different types of rays that are different frequencies,
Yeah.
and you need a different tool to tune into them. So it's like the human consciousness is only in this one little tiny spectrum, and you take the drugs and it's like expanding that spectrum a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're touching other parts of the spectrum.
Because from some people are theorizing like the multiverse isn't like branching off three-dimensionally. It's all like, it's all happening simultaneously.
And all stacked within the one.
It's all within the one. So like, if you're seeing ghosts from a period time, they could be just, that period could be literally happening at that time in that dimension, and it's just blended into yours for a split second, and you're seeing a ghost maybe from this split time, but that person's living in that house at that time in their timeline.
Yeah. And it's also like the energy kind of lives on versus, oh, well, it's just a spiritual being. It's like they probably don't haunt you.
Something's just fractured a second, and you've seen something.
The energy is like staying around or something like that. Or, it's like an echo of a previous time or something like that.
Because it's all energy, right?
Yeah, it's all energy.
If something bad happened that, usually goes to like, hanging around because it's tormented or something, it could be like really negative energy, like something really bad happened to them. So that negative energy is hanging around in that space and time.
Yeah. And as well, like, we can pick up on energy. You go into a room and something's just happened.
Yeah, you can feel
you
that.
Can feel it. Like if a room and something
it.
sudden or intense has just happened, you go into that room, it's like, whoa,
yeah,
what's happened? And no one needs to say anything. You just, what's happened?
Yeah. Oh man, I remember hearing something. I'm trying to make sure I remember it right, but like it was something about when you get that gut feeling, it's future you in hindsight going, man, I'm glad I just didn't do that. So you walk past a brick wall and you're gonna cross the road and you go, I'm gonna take a left here, and then you hear a car crash right on the road and you're like, well, I'm glad I didn't take that. But then in the past we're about to go across the road and you're like, well, I got a bad feeling about this. I'm going to go this way.
So it's like,
you trust your gut, but it's the energy of your future self in feeling hindsight.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
It's like deja vu maybe is a part of it too.
Yeah.
Because
like
I've had some deja vu and I'm like, hold on, this happens. And then it happened. I was like, how did I know that? I freaked myself out.
It's happened to me. I hadn't had deja vu for a very long time. It happened a lot when I was younger. I had 2 incidences recently, and it's very, very strange because, I really don't know how it works. I did hear that it's a lag from the left side to the right side of the brain.
It's a processing issue.
So you're experiencing it and then you're registering it, and just there's a little bit of a delay, so you think you're experiencing it a second time.
Yeah, but then how can you be like, but this happens and then it happens?
Because you have seen it, but it's not clicking.
Oh, but for instance, when I was at school one time, I remember going, I remember having the deja vu, and I was looking at my mate and I was like, hold on, I'm having deja vu. And then I turned behind me and was like, and then this kid kicked the ball and then he did it. And I was like, what the hell? And I freaked myself out. I wasn't even looking.
Wow, okay. I've never guessed what's going to happen, but I can experience and know that, yeah, it's like a feeling, what's going to happen, but I've never been channeled in that hard that I could outwardly say it as it's about to happen.
I used to get it more as a kid too. I got
a lot as a kid.
I've only had it a couple times as an adult.
Yeah,
none since I entered DPDR.
Right,
none at all.
I've only had it twice this year, and before that, I can't remember the last time I had it since I was a kid.
Okay.
I remember this specific memory, and I know this has nothing to do with medieval, but I actually remember going to my sister's room when I was a kid, and I was talking to her, and I said, "What's this song called? I remember hearing this ages ago. Why is it on the radio?" And she goes, "It just came out." And I'm like,
that's your future self.
And I was telling her, like,
I want to know this song.
I was like, oh, I already knew the lines and stuff like that. I was like, I'm just on the radio, and she's like, it just came out. How could you possibly know that?
But maybe she was wrong that it would just came out, and you had actually heard it before.
Maybe your boy's magic.
Maybe your boy's magic. Maybe your boy's a fae and entering the.
Maybe I'm a night elf.
That's it. Well, look, it was just a tangent of what we were saying, though.
Yeah.
Like of being spiritual,
That's
which is I think what people were a lot more back then.
I mean, if talking Middle Ages, specifically Europe area, religion was a huge.
Developing thing.
It was just like the leading factor for everything. That your life was religion, really. Everything you chose to do,
And that was so
religion.
spiritual.
It was very spiritual, but it was I guess it was seen in not in a way of like like the Bible at that time wasn't translated as like verbatim as it is now. It's actually more open-minded. Like it was more up for interpretation at this time, which is funny enough. So people did take them as fables and ways of life. Well, now it's like this is exactly how it's been said. So you have to do it exactly this way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. So what do you got for me?
Man, I got something for you. I want to talk to you about bestiaries.
Okay.
So at this time, in the medieval times, there were these medieval books which originated from Northern Europe, and it was a catalogue showing various beasts which were seen as manifestations of God for Christians, and the bestiaries mainly concentrated on animals and their relationship between God and nature. So it was just all these documentations, and they were like, they could be like from like a couple of pages to like hundreds of pages of really deep descriptions of these creatures that were found by travelers and people, and the books described were described in order for men and women to help them understand how to survive the hostile environment that they lived in. I got a couple of beasts to talk to you about, and then funnily enough, you brought one of them up yesterday, and one of them is the griffin.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so,
cool.
Yeah, the griffin was a hybrid between an eagle and a lion, and these were known as one of the strongest beasts in the bestiary. They were the first known writing of them appeared in ancient Egypt around 3000 BC, and this thing could apparently tear horses apart and eat them, and would just carry men off to its nest to feed its young. It was huge. There are some writings from a man called Sir John de Mandeville from his explorations somewhere in Asia. And it describes this country that he was visiting having more griffins than any other place he had ever been to. He describes these being so strong that they can carry 2 oxen and a goat away to their nest. He also speaks of a particular one being as strong as 8 lions, because I guess that's how they would just compare strength.
It's 20 gorilla strength.
Yeah. So they had the strength of 8 lions and having talons so large that they were like the horns of great oxen, and men would be making drinking cups from the talons and using the ribs from this beast as bows.
Whoa!
Imagine that, dude.
But so he was actually saying he saw them.
This traveler, who I believe is from French descent or from wherever that was at the time, is talking about his travels to somewhere in Asia, seeing stronger and a lot more of these creatures than they already knew about in Northern Europe. And the first known writings of them are from Egypt, 3000 BC. And we're talking about ages from like, 400 to 1400 AD? And this is like...
So what was do you know why they would even write down in the hieroglyphs about the griffin?
I'm not too sure.
Like obviously it had some importance to them. Was it a godly figure though that they just kind of made up?
I'm not too sure why the ancient Egyptians would have written about them, but the illustration I remember seeing it wasn't so much an eagle-looking top end. It was more like a falcon. It was a very smooth-looking bird with the lion's body, where the European version, you see it's very eagle-like. You know, it's got the feathers and stuff like that.
Yeah. But a bit more crude drawings in Egypt, though.
Yeah.
Slightly more, which may be just for up interpretation, but interesting that they both were talking about it.
For him to be in Europe, and then also known from ancient Egypt, and then also to find them supposedly in Asia, there's definitely something happening in the world at this time.
Yeah. And interesting that we're not finding... we have found huge bird bones, though.
Yes.
Remember the one in the museum that I showed you? The bird was like a big as a truck.
Thing?
Yeah, it was like a big as a truck.
Huge, absolutely massive.
And that thing was just a regular bird-looking thing.
Yeah. And that wouldn't have been from prehistoric times, was it?
No, there's a guy standing with it. I don't know if it's prehistoric, but not prehistoric, but thousands of years ago.
Yeah. Did you bring that up on the podcast? Should we describe that for the listeners?
I've brought it up on the podcast
Okay, right.
before. So yeah, it was a bird that looked like the size of a truck, and the guy standing next to it, and its wingspan is like 5 meters wide. It's huge.
Yeah, okay.
And and the bird from beak to tail was taller than a man.
It was massive. Like if that thing would have outstretched its wings,
It would look like it
would've
could
been-
pick up a car.
yeah.
It was huge.
massive.
So,
and
this
for-
was
for
only
this-
thousands of years ago.
for this to be and to have it so many descriptions of how strong these creatures were, to like they can just pick up tear apart a horse and then take it away.
Yeah.
But it's very descriptive.
And they talk about everything years ago being so large. Like, I don't know if we killed them out as people because they were big predators for us. So we just, stamped them all out as a human race because it was like, okay, we got to kill these things because they're killing us. They're stealing people away.
Yeah.
So we just extincted them as humans.
Just took them out.
But, they have like you were showing me like the giant otters and the giant wombats and stuff that used to have thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
That was roaming the earth, and they were huge. They had giant bears thousands of years ago that were like 4 meters tall.
And it's just like, okay, let's take out the biggest predators so that we can live a bit more comfortably.
Yes.
We can actually build towns and stuff so that we're not getting taken out by
It
these
would have
massive
been
creatures.
like Horizon Zero Dawn stuff, but without machines. It was like these things are huge and horrifying, so we need to kind of gang up to stop them.
Yeah.
Because there was the things of the world's largest bear, which is like 3 times the size of a grizzly. And it's like enormous. And you think, oh my God, this is like godly like. So you can imagine people writing down these things to say, look out for them.
Yeah, because this was created just to be like a survival guide, really. Beware of these creatures.
Yeah. So keep going. Sorry.
So I have another creature that is a bit more freaky that I was reading about called a manticore.
Okay.
So this creature also has the body of a lion.
Yes.
And it was colored in blood red and had the face of a man with blue eyes, and had the tail of a scorpion with a stinger on the end. I've seen a couple of depictions of it. And I'll show you a couple of pictures here, Daniel.
Okay.
Over
Wow.
here.
Yeah.
Very freaky looking.
Yeah,
And we'll bring it up on
too.
the screen for those watching. So
Why the head of a man?
that's what's very strange. So it ate the flesh of humans apparently, and had the voice like a whistle. It could also shoot needles from its tail. A monk in the 13th century describes it as having 3 rows of teeth, a horrible voice like a trumpet, and out of all the beasts in the world, this was the most cruel.
Whoa.
And I wanted to put something to you.
Voice like a trumpet.
Yeah, and then also people describing it as having a whistle-sounding voice, like maybe like a screech.
Okay.
I want to put something to you.
Okay.
Simulation theory.
Okay.
What if at this time in history, things are being generated, mashed together, just this and this plus this, that doesn't really work because then the humans are dying out too much, so we got to try this out. Okay, that doesn't really work
Things
out.
are just genetically being put together.
We just keep finding like the right balance of creatures and humans until we find the right thing for just enough death and life to happen for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Things are too OP like this.
Kill them out.
They just leap. These things were apparently like they could do massive leaps and would just eat human flesh. Mm-hmm. Very freaky to be described as having a human
face.
human man's face and blue eyes and 3 rows of teeth. Like that's so specific to say.
Yeah. Why would you come up with that?
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And why does it come about? Like, why is it not something completely, why is it so specific to that?
I did hear that, and not particularly these types of beasts, but when you're looking at these maps that are depicting certain creatures in different lands, because obviously people were charting the globe at this time, it was almost a way, because religion was everything at this time. It was almost a way to give fear to those under the religion. Don't go to this land because these are the types of creatures you're going to find there, when they were just different types of humans. Mm-hmm. But it's like, these are the type of creatures you're going to see. So stay with the people you know,
Okay.
where it's safe.
Yeah.
It's almost
okay.
like fear mongering.
Yeah. Just keep away because these horrible creatures are there and they're going to kill you.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then why even write it down and describe it? Or like, do you think it's just some parents saying some crazy thing and then it's becoming kind of
Old folklore.
old folklore, and it's becoming knowledge just because, my dad said this, and then it's scary, and then it gets built up.
And if you say it with enough description,
Miracle of Fatima.
yeah, exactly. If you say it with enough detail, people are like, oh, it must be true. There's so much detail about this.
Yeah.
He didn't make this up.
But then, you have people all around the world saying this stuff. So it's like you're not just dads going and just jumping across the globe. It doesn't happen back then. No one's got a ship.
Yeah, yeah.
Very rare that you would be able to go around and tell these tales.
Yeah, for sure.
And interesting that it's similar things of like weirdly bizarre human face.
Especially the griffin to be found in different parts of the world is...
I really want to know what's going on.
I would like to as well, man.
I want to know what he saw. Because, sometimes you're in a psychotic state of being scared and you're seeing something and everything's magnified.
That's true.
Or it's like, oh my God, it was a huge eagle and he embellished it because it's like its body was so strong it was like a lion. It could be that. I'm just playing
because like what animals kind of have what if this was like some sort of prehistoric human subspecies that was a bit more beast-like, so it did have blue eyes and came at someone with maybe a club with spikes and was hairy and it had long nails, and the guy was like, this thing was a beast with a man's face and it came with spiky and it was in the middle of the night.
Oh, totally.
And he's out of fear, this thing came running at him because it was just, and that there was a little thing that just died off in history, but like, it could have just been something like that. And then he told this tale of
and then they start drawing it to be like, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, and the guy couldn't even draw. So there's his friend's illustrating it and he's describing the night. And he's like, that's exactly what I saw.
Yeah.
Out of fear.
It
could be things like that.
It could be embellished and then but Egyptians were painting it too.
Yeah, well, not this, but the...
the Egyptians weren't talking about the manticore?
Not the manticore. They were talking about the griffin.
I thought it was all part of Egyptian. Because I played Age of Mythology and he was in the Egyptian race was the manticore.
Oh, sorry. Maybe the manticore was
Egyptian. And it threw
Egyptian.
spikes from its butt. Its tail, like you said.
Let me see if I can find a picture of the... Yeah, this is the picture I saw. Let me try and bring this up for you. We'll bring it up on the screen for you guys as well. This is the Egyptian one I saw. If we can see how it's quite...
It's like a bird on its head.
Yeah, it's got that falcon body, and you could I guess describe that as a lion's body, but it's very interesting to see that. And also, this is 4,000 years before the time I'm talking about, where it was seen in Asia.
Yeah,
4,000 years.
Yeah,
that's a long time, man. That's so long.
That's ages ago. Here's a picture of the bear I wanted to show you. That's the size of it.
Wow.
And this was only, I think, it's 12 foot tall. I'll show this for the audience, but like,
you would not stand a chance. You would have to go in with a tribe of people.
Dude, it could bite your head off. Look at its mouth. It could bite your head off.
I think it'll just swipe you open. Just one
cleave
swipe,
you
you're
in
gone.
half.
Yeah, you're
cleave
gone.
You in half.
You're gone.
Its mouth could easily fit your head. Like, that is chomping your head off in one go.
Think about a kangaroo being the same size as one of these guys and has the strength to tear you open.
Yeah.
Look at the size of this thing, dude. You wouldn't I don't think it would be an instant death.
That's like a truck.
It'd be an instant death. Like, you would just be swiped out of existence.
Literally, you'd just be cleaved in half like an axe.
I think that's the only way these things were getting killed, because the power of the human mind, we were able to outsmart them and gang
track
up on
it down
them.
and trap it, and then we'll just stab it to death.
Exactly.
Real quick,
that was the only way we survived, because we had our brain.
So I'm just saying, like, when you see things like this and they're coming at you in the night and people write them down, you're embellishing that story hard. This thing was, but the fact that how large it actually was, that the scientists have, found bones and gone, this is a bear. Look at the size of this thing. It just makes me wonder what else was out there that we haven't found.
I mean, like, we're talking about giants at one time, and there's plenty of tales of giants around this time.
Yep.
Like, I think there was
tall people, and they're
just
and ancient civilizations getting buried. Like, we're still discovering stuff in like Spain, and it's like, oh my God, there's like a whole tapestry down here, and like people have been walking over this land for hundreds of thousands of years, and no one knew it was like this whole beautiful structure covered by like a landslide or something. You know?
I found another thing that you'll really enjoy this. And you actually probably know a lot about this from research you've done recently.
All right, what I'm seeing is looks like my head when I was born.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about that. I was bringing up some skulls because I don't know. I will have to do some research into this. Maybe we'll save this for another episode. But it was to do with these skulls that were found with elongated craniums.
Yeah,
and I believe that there's a link to ancient Egyptians and what they're
Definitely.
sorry, not just ancient Egyptians, but a lot of these religions in the world with these really tall headdresses, and they were like a species of people with a lot of knowledge, and that's why they hid them. But I'll do some research on that. We'll save that for another episode.
Well, yeah, but what you brought up to me as well, we can bring it up properly on another episode, but I just wanted to touch on that a lot of Egyptian cultures were binding their heads to replicate that. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? What's the importance of it? It's like, it's not like you are doing it to mimic something.
To praise this. Yeah, we'll save that for another episode. We're going deep on that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So I've read up another thing that you really appreciate. It's because it's to do with something you've been doing lately. And it's to do with the people's walking mechanics during this time. So apparently during this time, people walked very different to the way we do, and because the modern shoe hadn't been invented yet.
Yes.
And the research suggests that everyone walked toe to heel.
Yes.
And this is apparently...
This is what you said, okay, you're on the money, the why I love it, and what I've been practicing.
And so Daniel lately he's invested in some shoes that form to your foot, so you walk very naturally. And
it's the most comfortable shoe I've ever worn, to be honest.
Right.
And so anyone who wants to look at it, just Google Vibram. I'll bring it up as well, but you can look at it. Vibram 5 Fingers. They're a shoe that actually looks like it's built for a foot because it's wider on the front and smaller at the back, and just like a foot is, because your foot is quite wide mine is.
I got flat feet, so mine are really wide.
Yeah, but you developed flat feet from poor walking form.
Yeah.
Most people don't have it. I developed it from poor shoe form and walking heel toe, which is very unnatural.
Yes.
But so Vibram 5 Fingers are the shoe that's supposed to replicate, and their slogan is your foot is the technology.
Nice.
I like that.
That's natural.
That's true.
That's true.
It's true.
It's perfectly designed.
Your foot
we're stomping it out with.
How can you say that? Oh well, my this thing improves your body. It's like, no, it doesn't.
That's why everyone has these bad feet.
Yeah, and poor walking, and bad backs, shoes, and they can't walk very long, or their knees explode when they run.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like apparently, this toe to heel mechanic puts a lot less stress on the knees.
Yeah, it does.
And the early shoes at this time were just a bound foot with a strip of leather, so it didn't really change the way our feet were flat on the ground. And modern shoes changed this with the creation of thicker soles, so it caused us to take longer strides and impact with the heel first.
Yeah.
And a study in 2007 revealed that people who walked barefoot when compared to people wearing shoes experienced 12% less of an impact on the knee.
Yep.
And from what I was looking up, people were suspecting like, oh, maybe they were walking toe to heel because of the being such rough terrain and all that.
Yeah, they're searching for things first.
Yeah. And it's a way of testing your footing before putting your whole body's weight on it. So if you were to step on something sharp and you go heel first, that is it. You're done. You can't walk. You've stabbed your heel. If you're going toe first, there's this lag you can give your body where it's almost like you're feeling out. And you can hesitate before you put your full body's weight on that area. So it's for people around this time,
that was
walking barefoot everywhere.
Yep.
You needed your feet. If you didn't have your feet, you're dead.
That's it.
So you have to be careful.
You brought up a good point, but I say this to anyone who wants to try it: go walk outside on the concrete barefoot. You cannot do it heel toe; it will hurt. You heel plant on the concrete or try and run heel first. You will shatter the ball of your heel. It kills. So you'll naturally run on your toes almost.
Yeah.
And then what people will complain is like, my calves are killing me. It's like, yeah, because you've never used them before when you run. So go run 20 steps on the concrete outside.
Well, I guess
tell me how you feel.
From reading this, it wasn't so much running. It was like just walking. The biggest strides came from having heels, thicker heels. So I'm
just saying,
just take a stroll.
Yeah, you can take a stroll outside, but it takes a little bit to adapt. But try going for a light jog. You'll go on your toes because you have no cushioning. You have no cushioning, and you're running incorrectly when you're going on your toe because the shoe is doing the work for you.
Yeah,
so you find that if you want to see the effect immediately, go run for a bit. But if you want to just build it up over time, go walking. And they've got this Vibram. We've got this shoe called Vibram Furoshiki, and the Furoshiki is the word for wrap shoe in Japan.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's a shoe that essentially is like got no cushion, no nothing. It's just, it looks more nicer than a modern shoe because it's than a 5-finger shoe, because 5-finger shoes look a bit weird because every toe is exposed.
Yeah.
So it's not really cool. But the Vibrant Furoshiki, which is what I want to get, it just puts your foot in and it looks like a wrap, and it just Velcro on either side, and that's it. Okay. There's no tension, and you can fully spread. It's like a mesh. It looks like a Japanese wrap shoe.
You have to show me that.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Oh wow! I remember reading about how as you were saying, it's when if you were to go for a run, that's the natural way you would do it, is just lay in toe first. And,
exactly.
And it's just the perfect design of the body. The reason our ass is in the middle is because it's the center pivot for our waist to twist as we run. And that's the only way. That's the only reason why we're able to kill so many of our predators as ancestors and hunt things down, because as much as horses and cheetahs and stuff are super fast and can outrun us easily, we had the stamina because of the way our movement is. We distribute our energy evenly. So even though a horse can run for ages, it's going 100%. It gets gassed so quickly and it conks out. But the beautiful design of a human is
we can keep going.
We can keep going for ages, and we will eventually catch up to this tired animal.
Yeah.
And because we can know how to track, we could just keep striding. And our perfect design is just, we can just go endurance.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, you don't have to. It's not about burst, a sprint, but we in the long run we'll get you.
In the long run we'll get you, and that's a cool design about humans.
Yeah, that is super cool, and I appreciate you bringing that up. But that's what I've seen a lot of in old cultures. You see people with these super strong, wide feet,
very wide
foot and their toes are really spread.
Yeah.
In any photos of like 1800s of people going to the Philippines and finding these like really small tribes, and what they're like walking up and down mountains barefoot. It's like they didn't complain of sore feet.
Yeah.
They just did it, and they probably didn't even go, well, I have flat foot. These guys look, they have the strong as feet.
Yeah.
And right now, like you suffer from it, I suffer from a flat foot. But the more I've done my training, the more I'm walking in these shoes, the more strong I feel my feet are getting.
That's
and
great.
You know what? The more separated my toes are becoming.
And
my big toe used to be like that.
Yeah.
Now it's like outwards.
And I can imagine it's not just your feet that are getting benefits. It'd be right up the shins, right through the knees.
The back,
it would be just
everything, man.
It'd be such a knock-on effect of the benefits of
I had to stop running because my knees were killing me running on the road.
Right,
and I'm like, oh my God, my knees feel like they're going to blow up. I better stop. I had to stop running and then do bike riding.
Yeah.
But when I run in these things, I can't run very long because my foot hurts.
Right.
So you got to build up to it. You can't
strength.
just go by the way, if you wear these shoes, do not just go, I'm going to run a marathon in these shoes right away. You'll shatter something.
Yeah. You need to build up all those muscles again.
And, you need to walk in them. They say walk 10 minutes and my feet are killing me after 10 minutes. But
walk a mile in these shoes. Yeah, wow. That's cool, man.
So I walk about a kilometer and I think, man, I'm tired. My feet are tired. But I notice that they're standing strong.
Yeah.
They're gripping the ground, and I walk completely different. It's like toe grip.
You're not walking on the ground. You're rotating the globe underneath you.
Exactly.
You're gripping it so hard. Yeah. And everyone's like, whoa, why did the day just get shorter? And you're like, Daniel's probably just going for a walk.
Yeah, that's it. That's good, man.
I remember someone, I think like a film crew, going to visit one of these tribes that did everything barefoot. And the men really couldn't understand why these guys following them with film equipment and stuff were... Like, they would walk across a little log just to get across a river, and these guys were like wobbling and falling into the water, and they just could not understand why these men
were so unbalanced.
Why they couldn't just walk. But it wasn't that like they were just like thinking, these guys are, they can't tough it out in the jungle. They were actually genuinely puzzled, like, why are they having such a hard time balancing? Because for them, they weren't even balancing. It's just like, I'm just walking.
Yeah,
it's such a natural thing for me.
And their feet were so strong; it just stabilized everything.
They were just because you'd be all random terrain, and they just climb up trees and stuff like that.
You don't use it, you lose it. But the more I've, there's a guy on YouTube called Knees Over Toes. Yep. Knees Over Toes guy. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I have heard of this guy.
He always talks about like foot strength and like, when you bend down, you should never put your knees over your toes. But he says that is wrong, and when you have the correct strength in your feet, you can do it. And it should be done. Because
I think I remember seeing him, and he was explaining how to strengthen your knees and shins, right? Because a lot of people had pains in that, and he was like,
he's all about the foot.
Yeah.
And he was all about talking about. He wears shoes, but I've come to appreciate what people got about barefoot running and barefoot shoes.
Okay.
The way from and you got to wear the socks. And the more I wear normal socks and normal shoes, I don't like the way it feels, how it crushes my toes together.
Especially some shoes that you
need to be able
the
to
pinky starts
spread.
wrapping underneath the foot.
Yeah. I've
so
noticed that
narrow-toed.
from years of wearing socks, and I like wearing socks because my feet get cold. But the more I wear it, the more I'm like, see that my pinky is getting underneath and getting crushed.
Getting real tucked under there.
And so now when I wear the toe socks, they feel so comfortable, and I'm like, oh, this feels great.
A lot of women's shoes are like that. If you look at a lot of women's feet, the pinky is like tucked right underneath.
It's not normal.
No.
But it's not fashionable. So what do you do?
It's over many years.
You got to look up called minimalist shoes. They are the ones that like do it. But I really dig the toe shoes, to be honest. I just wish they were more fashionable. But I wear them to the gym. It's like, oh, I get the best workout. So much grip.
Yeah, nice.
I feel like
cool, dude.
Interesting. Very interesting topic.
You got something for me?
I do.
Lay it on me.
I've got two things. You let me know what you want to hear. I've got a story that happened to me, and it's a spiritual story.
Okay.
Or
Hey, it is a special. We have time, right?
I've got ancient torturing methods.
Oh man, I mean, both of these sound kind of good to me. I mean, this is a special. We got time?
Yeah, we got time. Okay. So the first story I have has happened to me. So it's a spiritual story. So I want to bring it up now. I went to a condemned haunted house, and we had something happen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I forgot it happened. I wrote it down. I was like, oh my God, the story. I'll tell Dipesh.
Okay.
So we lived in northwest Sydney years ago, and there was an area where the kids always used to talk about it as a condemned house. So no one had lived there for years. It was all broken down, whatever. My brother's girlfriend at the time said she had been there before, and she went with a group of mates. And dude, I'm talking the house looked 40 years old and had never been, no one living in it.
Just
Like
completely
black. It looked
dilapidated.
like it burned down, like half burned in a fire.
I feel like
or
every
something.
kid had this house in their area that they could visit.
Yeah. So we went, she said she went there with a bunch of I don't know if she went there or she heard a story from her mates, but she said about 12 mates went there, and this house is like, no one lives there. Like there's nothing. And the light went on upstairs when they were in the house.
Oh!
So they couldn't get in.
Wait, so they're watching the house and the light went on?
Yeah. The
Oh
light went on.
my
There's no
God,
electricity connected to
Dude,
the house.
just as a kid, if you will, you'll get together, let's go freak ourselves out, and you're talking about this house, and as you're talking about it, the light goes on, I'd bike home.
That's it. So this was in the middle of the night they went. I could drive at the time. I think I was about 17, 18 at the time when we were talking about this.
Yeah.
She said that I think she went to the house and she went and they were all around the house, and the house was freaky as hell, by the way. And so we went up. She said they were looking around the house and the light went on upstairs, and they were all geeing each other up, saying, "Oh my God, it's like someone's upstairs. It's a ghost." But dude, there's no electricity connected to the house for the last 40 years. No one's living there.
Is this in a suburb? Like this house is next door to it?
Yeah, but no one. It's like condemned. No one builds on there.
Yeah.
No, like it's like haunted. People don't want to buy the house and buy the land. It's a real odd bit of land too, because it was in a suburb, but it was right near a creek. So the house from the road would like go really down and really windy, and then it was right on the edge of like a big bank that went into the water. So it was in an awkward spot. But when we went there, it was freaky as hell. So she went there. She's telling us this story, and she said, like, what do you guys think? And we said, well, we got to go.
I've done a darkie run. Time to do a horror run.
Time to do a horror run. It was just me, my brother, and her.
Oh my God.
We said, let's just do it.
You need to go with a group of friends.
Bring my camera. I'm like, let's go. 6
friends minimum.
So we get there. We're geeing ourselves up. It was the middle of the night, by the way. It's like 11
How old are
o'clock.
you?
18?
Oh, okay. That's
17, 18.
I thought you were in early high school.
I had a car.
Okay, that's not too bad. And then this is what you do when you're in your P place.
Oh, I didn't have my car. I borrowed the dad's car.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, we're going to go check out a haunted house.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You told him that?
Yeah.
Oh, goddamn.
So we went there, and she is worried because she's like, "Do you messing with spirits?" Her mum was very spiritual, and she was spiritual. I think this was her first time going. So we get there, and we're geeing ourselves up in the car. It's like a foggy night. It's like the perfect for like haunting the shit out of yourselves. I look at the house, I'm like, God damn, this house is scary. Like it looks exactly like the house in Stranger Things or something like that, like a horror movie house. Old school Elizabethan style.
Yeah.
Hasn't been touched in years. It looks like it's completely falling apart. everything you expect when you see a haunted house. I'm like, that's the most haunted house I've ever seen in real life. I can't believe this thing has people living next to it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I like that you're pulling up to this house and it's freaky as shit, but at the same time, you're looking next door and there's just a family
normal houses.
just chilling.
It's normal houses next door. Some of the houses were being rebuilt in the area,
Right.
but that one was not being touched. So
And this would have been on a big,
we
got a
go
bit of
there.
land.
A little bit, not it's
Decent.
pretty crammed.
Okay.
So we go to the door and we're like, all right, let's start.
Oh my
checking.
God, dude.
I'm getting freaked out. We do a lap around the place, see if we can get in any of the doors. It's all locked up.
I would have been also freaked out because people can see you. They think you're just trespassing, you know?
We kept it real quiet. And
Yeah.
we didn't bring torches or anything. We
Yeah.
just had like phone lights.
Even scarier.
And the camera. So I go to
my
we
God.
go to the door and we do a couple laps. We're checking in the windows. Everything's black as hell. Can't see anything moving. I go to the front door and I'm scared to kind of I jiggle and handle nothing. I'm scared to kind of give it a big push with my shoulder or something. So I remember I put my foot up to the door and pushed really hard to see if it would just break open.
Yeah.
At that moment, my brother's girlfriend's like, wait, stop. And I go, what? She goes, did you hear that? And I go,
Oh my God.
no. I go, what do you mean? She goes, I heard something. I go, were you serious? Me and my brother both didn't hear it, but she's a more spiritual person.
Right.
Me and my brother both don't hear it. We're like, nah, you're being stupid. Nothing. So we go around. We trying to find this for ages. We couldn't get in. We check all the windows. We check everything. We can't get in. No lights are turning on. No nothing scary. We go, all right, we're going to leave. Like we've done everything we can. Like
Yeah.
we couldn't get in. We checked it out. We tried to be brave. It's all barricaded up. We ain't getting in.
And you're going to break shit to get in.
She's like, I'm freezing. I'm like, okay, it wasn't that cold of a night. It was a summer night.
Yeah.
So she's going, I'm cold. I'm like, yeah, it is a little chilly down here. We go back to the car and she's brought holy water.
Oh my God.
And she goes, I'm just going to bless us because
Wow,
my mum,
superstitious.
My mum knew we were coming tonight and she said, bring this because
Oh my
she's
God.
like, dude, she puts the fucking holy water on me and I swear to God this happened. As the fucking holy water hits me, I felt this immense wave of heat go douche on my body as if like a cold presence left me.
Interesting.
I was like, holy shit, I felt something. I was like a heat wave just hit me. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a warm night. Like that was not on me before. It's as if like a cold area was being put on me and it just evaporated. And I was like,
Wow.
I remember looking at my brother go, holy shit, I felt something, dude. That was freaky as hell. Because I was like, nah, don't hit me. And she's like, I'm going to just do it whether you want to or not. I think there was a presence around me.
Did you gradually get colder when you arrived? So
I
you
didn't
see the
notice so
difference?
much. I didn't notice so much, but then when she did that, I thought
You felt something go away.
Yeah, something's happened. Like that was freaky. That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
We
dude.
go home, we review the footage. My brother didn't mention anything about the warmth. I felt that warmth like I'd never felt anything before. I was real skeptical. So
Yeah.
I was already like, nah. I was thankful she brought it. I said, I'm actually thankful you brought it because something just happened and I don't know what happened.
Got
It was
rid of
like
something.
Something was around me and I didn't like that. Who knows what I was bringing home.
Yes.
So then...
And you touched the house as well. You touched the door.
Oh yeah. So then we get back and we look at the footage, and I go on the computer and we replay it, and I get to the bit that's
Oh my God. I strapped
that
myself
I'm
in.
pressing onto the door and there's a voice.
Oh!
It goes. It sounded like this. Oh. I'm getting goosebumps telling this story, bro.
Wow. That's so
As I
freaky,
pressed
man.
on the door, it wasn't me groaning because me and my brother are talking at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time. And as soon as she hears the
She heard that.
she's like, what was that?
Oh,
On
wow.
the film. And I barely heard it. I had to crank the volume right up
Yeah, yeah.
as loud as possible.
Oh, wow.
And she's going, I heard something. And she goes, what was that? What was that? And I go, nothing. Me and brother go, did you hear anything on film?
Yeah, yeah.
My brother go, do you hear anything? Nah, don't worry.
That's crazy. You got that on film, man.
Got it on film.
You're going to have to show that to me.
This is what happened. I went to upload the footage to YouTube to try and do it, and the file corrupted. Every single time I uploaded it, it was like,
Even freakier.
file unsupported, can't do it. I'm like, this is an MP4, do it.
Yeah.
I all I could do was play it on my computer. I couldn't convert it to something else. I couldn't
bizarre.
play it. Anything. It was so weird. And so I was a film guy at the time, so I
Yeah,
knew this shit.
yeah.
And I'm like, why can I not fucking convert
You would have
this
gotten
file?
so frustrated.
I was so frustrated because I'm like, I want this footage so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened. It's probably on an old hard drive that's blown up because I had a couple corrupt hard drives that I
Yeah.
need to send away to get data restored. So I had the file for years, and I'm like, oh man, every time I played it, I'm like, oh, there's a male voice going, as I'm pressing on the door. It wasn't me grunting because it sounded like someone different.
That's so scary.
So we got that on film.
That's cool, and I hope you can find that. That would be great for the podcast. It would be
great to find it again.
Maybe we'll try and do a little hunt for that. That's really cool. That's freaky, man.
So that was one of the ghostly experiences that I had, and and I'm convinced something was following me when she put that holy water on me, because that was scary as hell when I felt that wave of energy hit me. It was like a bath water had been put on me. It was that intense. That
reminds me of something I experienced when I was younger, and it's not as scary as that, but me and two of my friends that you know of, after school, you'd always mess around on the way home, and there was this house that was in a cul-de-sac that we would always like kind of walk past sometimes, and it had that energy. You got these normal houses, and then there's just one house, and it looked abandoned. It was really dark. You know, it almost looked like the light had been sucked out of this house.
Yeah.
And I remember like we were freaked out about this house for no reason. And it was a weird house. Like it was almost like it wasn't front onto the street. It was kind of on an angle.
Yeah, that's what this kind of one was like too.
On this block. Really? Okay. And
angled off the block. It like moved to the side.
It was kind of like it was a 45-degree house.
Yeah, that's exactly like the one I was mentioning. It was like that same sort of style.
Interesting.
Like off the street like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That they're both like that. And this. I remember like the curtains and stuff looked just tattered in the window and stuff like that, and looked like no one was in there, and it was a very dark house. And I remember one time we went for a bike ride, and we're like, let's go. It was one of those days where it's like overcast, so it's too dark in the afternoon. Kind of feels like nighttime, but it's not. And I remember we're checking it out, and this is my memory. We were looking at the house and stuff, and we looked into. We weren't like right at the house, but we were kind of like on the front lawn, and we looked through the lounge room window, and there was just a TV on with just static. And
oh my God.
Got the hell out of there.
But
man.
No one was supposed to be in there.
I don't know if anyone lived in there. It doesn't look like anyone had lived in there. There was like a dog kennel that was like, the gate was just open on the side of the house.
Yeah.
It looked like it just had been abandoned. And this is in like a proper suburb. Like everyone's living there for years. And I just remember looking in the window, and there's just a TV on with just static only, and we're like, let's get the hell out of here.
That's some like Ring shit.
Yeah.
Oh man. And it's like so
very
stereotypical.
Freaky.
Like,
I know, right?
Like it's static on the TV.
Well, what if there's a link to all this stuff? The fact that your house was also on an angle is very strange.
Don't know. Maybe it's
have
like
to map these out in Sydney.
Yeah. We got to maybe ask if it's like a similar one.
Yeah. I think I know where it is from memory. I'm going to try. Maybe we'll go for a drive one day. We'll do a little remote podcast.
Yeah, okay. We'll try and scare the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow.
Very interesting. The other story I wanted to tell you about. Wait, do you think it was like potentially like some paranormal shit going on in the house at the time you were there?
What, like when I was there visiting?
Yeah. When the TV static's going on.
I definitely felt off. But, you know, as a kid, you want to freak yourself out. So you kind of get freaked out. And I don't know if this is a shit memory or someone just said that and you start to like remember the wrong events, but they said they did see someone walk across the lounge room, and that's when we bucked it out of there. But I do remember seeing the static on and the black curtains just flailing, like the window had just been left open, and it was just, you know, that feeling of when like the electricity's in there because a storm's about to come. And it's a little bit too dark, and seeing the black curtains just flailing.
Also, who's got static electricity on their TV that those days?
Oh yeah, like this was I'd say late primary school.
Oh, okay, then it's way earlier than I thought. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't like digi TVs weren't a thing at this.
Oh, okay, then that makes sense.
So yeah, static was just like salt and pepper on the TV.
Okay, that's still scary as fuck. That it's just like you're rocking up and that's happening.
Yeah, man.
We have to go back and check it out.
I think I have a vague memory of where it is. I think I'll be able to take us there. We'll do a drive. We'll do a remote vlog for the podcast.
Let's try and do that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And see if you can remember your place as well.
I know. I'm pretty sure I know where it is.
Okay, sick. We'll do that.
Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about you was just this torture method I came across, which is I don't know if you've heard about this Chinese water torture dripping machine. Have you heard about it?
I've heard of water. I have heard of this. Is this like just a single drop over a long? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You've heard about this?
Yeah.
It's not waterboarding.
No.
It's a mentally painful process in which cold water slowly dripped onto the scalp, forehead, or face for a prolonged period of time. The process causes fear and mental deterioration in the subject. The pattern of the drops is often irregular and the cold sensation jarring, which causes anxiety in a person which tries to anticipate the next drip. So what was really key...
Like right there, yeah? Like right between the eyebrows.
Oh, just somewhere on the forehead or face. So usually they tie it down. They tie the person down and you try and anticipate the drip, but it's irregular. That's like one of the key things. If you can predict it's like when you hear a noise. If the noise is consistent, you can kind of get over it because your brain can anticipate it. But if it's irregular happening, then it drives you mad.
And this was during during the Middle Ages, or just in Asia?
So I can't remember I tried to look up where it has originally originated from, but I don't even think it came from China. I don't know why it was called the Chinese torture. I think the first reference of it was like 1800s in a book.
Right.
And they spoke about this water dripping method that they came across, and it was referenced in like a news article or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember, but it was. I do not think it came from China. I think it came from Europe. But I don't know why they called it the Chinese water torture. Maybe they used it on Chinese people.
Maybe. I mean,
I could not find where the original. So fuck you, TikTok, if you're like, these motherfuckers don't know anything.
Yeah,
bitches, I'm trying my best.
I mean, if we're talking from like 400 AD to 1500 AD, there's not a lot documented in Europe other than like religious shit.
Yeah. So if it doesn't come from China, it doesn't come from China, then fuck you all, because you.
There's going to be some guy that's an expert.
Yeah. So I'm trying. I could not find where it exactly came from, but the first mention of it, I think, was in the 1800s.
Oh, so it's a little bit more modern.
It's pretty modern.
We're out of the Middle Ages.
I say you're out of the Middle Ages, but it was just an interesting torture method. Who knows how long it's been around for, though? Yeah. It could have been around for like thousands of years, and people used it all the time, but the literature is not there.
Torturing is an old thing.
Yeah.
It's.
I'm not an archaeologist, so I don't know this shit 100%.
Anthropologist.
Oh, anthropologist said yes, of course, anthropologist. But the interesting thing, I think, Mythbusters attempted to recreate this. And the creepiest thing of the episode is that we got an email from someone from a throwaway account. He said, when we found that randomizing the drops occurred incredibly effective. So then when Jamie and Adam were testing it, they couldn't introduce anything that would like make them uncomfortable. They're like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I can deal with it.
Yeah. I can imagine this is over hours and hours though.
Anything that happens on it periodically can become a type of meditation, and you can tune out. If you couldn't predict it, he said, we found we were able to induce a psychotic break within 20 hours. So complete psychotic break.
Yeah.
I think Adam and Jamie couldn't last even like 40 minutes because it was too uncomfortable.
Because Jamie's usually like the tougher one. He's like,
yeah,
it's fine. I'll take care of it. So for him to break it's pretty.
Yeah. Psychosis is a common side effect of the mental deterioration. So it's immediately like you're hallucinating or like going into complete delirium.
Right.
Yeah. For those who don't know, it's like going madness essentially is like psychosis.
Because it's I think I can imagine it develops from frustration. You're getting so frustrated you can't move.
Your brain cannot cope.
It's just happening, and then out of frustration and anger, it morphs into this like, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, and you literally lose your touch with reality. That's how intense your brain can become. Like it's that deteriorating to your brain.
Yeah.
That you're no longer able to hold your onto reality anymore. Yeah. You cannot process it.
Right.
Like it's like dissociating in a way.
Yeah. And but as soon as you're out of it, it's fine.
Well, it's not good for your brain to enter psychosis. So people who live in psychosis all the time are schizophrenic.
Yeah.
So pushing your brain that far can snap it.
Oh my God. And that's like having too many drugs.
That's why people...
And then just having a snap and you're stuck.
And that's what can happen, like with anything. It's like too much stress. Being too much stress in your life can cause psychosis. Like there are kids who develop psychosis from HSC.
Yeah,
because it's that intense.
Too much
and
pressure.
Then get schizophrenia from it because they are untreated in psychosis for so long that their brain is like, I don't know what reality is anymore. It's just a coping method.
Goes into safe
for too much stress, too much drugs in brain. It's just essentially the overload of the brain. And it's just, that's it. You snap it and that's permanently fucked. Any other torture methods that you remember as you think were like olden times? I remember the one where they put you on a board and stretch you out. That was like this old Sydney town. Do you remember going there as a kid?
Yeah, I do.
It was horrific.
That was freaky.
And they're like whipping the people with the nine tails.
Yeah, the nine tails. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like fake blood is like coming on his body. I'm like, oh,
And
shit.
it'd go on you.
Oh, I wasn't that close.
No, like the first few rows, because he's whipping it back, blood would spray on you, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, jeez, that didn't happen for me. But
So
the
for those
guy's like,
international listeners,
and I thought, this is crazy.
For those international listeners, there was this place in Sydney called Old Sydney Town, and it'd be a frequent place for excursions that you would go on.
Yes,
when you were
and by the way,
school.
I'm in primary school, like
You're a
grade
kid.
3.
You're a kid, and it's basically just a little reenactment area to show you how things were at this certain time. And
There's a lot of torture.
There's a reenactment of someone getting whipped with a cat of nine tails.
Cat of nine tails.
And they obviously doused the whip in I don't know how they did it, because the first few whips there was no blood, and then the blood starts appearing on the back of this actor.
Yeah.
As a kid, you're freaking out, and then the guy starts getting whipped, and then
There's
all
like
these
fake blood.
lines of blood start appearing on his back, and then as he's whipping the
He's screaming, by the way.
yeah, it's pretty horrific to see as a kid.
I don't know why.
And they're like, "Come on, kids, let's make some damper," and you're like,
And then I remember we at least we could chalk it up to be like, no, it's fake. But like I think I was too young to be watching this stuff. And
it was intense. And I remember getting the red blood sprayed on me, but then looking at it, and I'm
I
like,
was
it's not
way
blood.
at the back. So I remember after the guy got whipped, he was standing next to us for then some of the thing, and one of my
having a
mates
chat.
is going, "Show me your back," and he's like, "Nah, it's too sore." And we're like, "Nah, it's not real."
Dude, I was with one of the kids, and you know how they have the guys with the muskets?
Yeah.
They actually have live gunpowder in the pouches. And a kid I remember seeing, and you actually know him, he reached into the powder and he got told off. He's like, "That is real gunpowder. Do not touch that." Because it was legit. They would stuff I think blanks and fire them, but it was real gunpowder. He's like, "Don't touch it."
Yeah, because
Because they just had a pouch of it on their side.
blow up.
Yeah, the kid's just reaches into the guy's pocket. We're in a complete different era, but we went from like medieval to Old Sydney Town.
No, but I'm just thinking like the
Old torture.
methods.
I mean, I don't know any from this era. I'm sure there was plenty.
Like imagine the old ones where they like put you on a table and tie your arms and legs together and like stretch you out.
Yeah.
Also, I've heard that they would do that with cattle. They put one cattle on one side, one cattle on the other side, and pull you until you're ripped in half.
Yeah. There was a lot of medieval torture methods. I'm not too sure. I know of a lot, but I don't know if they're that period specific. So I don't want to bring them up. But yeah, there was some crazy stuff happening at that time, because it was just like, you just torture someone and you'd get
There
locked
was
up for
no
so many
laws
things.
back then of you can't do this to people. It's like, who cares? Just do it.
Yeah, but there was definitely a lot of laws to get locked up.
Yeah, I know everything.
Do
It's like cut
anything.
off his hand because
Yeah.
he stole bread just feed his family. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'm so thankful we're not alive then.
Yeah, that would have been way too rough.
Yeah, too scary.
We wouldn't be alive to this time anyway. We're probably dead. Get a splinter in the finger, gangrene, dead.
Yeah, that's it. I would have died because I had an infection years ago that needed to be like treated with surgery.
Right.
That would have killed me.
That's it.
With antibiotics, it was like
It's either that or you get drained of blood in the head.
Yep. Yeah, it's like put a screw in there. There's like his brain fluid's too thick.
Yeah.
We got to just let it drip out. It's
Yeah.
like, oh god.
Apparently, men had to do it a lot more frequently than women, because women, they just knew that during a menstrual cycle they were already getting rid of blood, so men had to get it manually done more than women.
Isn't that horrific that they thought their brains were too, like that the swelling of the, like your brain is getting too big, so it's like drill a hole and let it drip.
But it was also just like, if you're sick, we're letting out the bad blood.
Oh god.
You
Well,
know?
leeches were a thing.
Yeah.
I think they did a leech test to say people with headaches put the leech on the back of the neck to like release because it's like thinning your blood.
Yeah.
It's like taking a Nurofen.
Well, you're gonna make new blood as well, so it's like fresh.
But it thins the blood, so it can relieve the headache if you're being drained of blood, because when you have less blood in your body, obviously it gets thinner.
Yeah.
So I've heard the leech method is actually a pretty effective method to relieve headaches. Like they put it on the back of your head and put it on the back of your neck.
Yeah. I'm sure if done by a person that specializes in it, it would have some benefits.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're getting some infected leech. It's just like, I've got malaria. I'm dead.
Yeah, instantly. Wow.
Yeah. But that's all I had about the Chinese torture. You got anything else?
Oh yeah, I was thinking, just a thought. I don't know if there's a quantum shower thought, because we're not from that era. This is prehistoric. This is a hail shower thought, natural shower.
Okay.
I was just thinking, like, imagine what the night sky would have looked like during the medieval times, because
So bright.
I'm thinking, even if we're out in the sticks these days, I'm sure the light pollution given off by big cities would have an effect on the night sky for us, even if we're like hours and hours away.
A little bit.
I think you'd have to be literally smack bang in like middle of Australia to actually get pitch black night sky.
Okay.
Because I can imagine just on the horizon, cities and stuff would just be
That's
polluting.
why people could navigate with the stars so well back then. I imagine it was like in the ocean, especially as you're going to navigate through the, you're seeing it. It's like a map. It's like, oh my God, it's so bright.
Yeah.
You're probably seeing the Milky Way.
Yeah, it would be. You'd be seeing
now.
such deep constellations, and I mean, it would have been magical, right? You'd just spend. I can't imagine most people were peasants at this time, so I don't think they had a lot of time to just stargaze. They're probably just exhausted from working all day. But it would have been amazing to see that, right?
Yeah, I go out far enough, and you can see it like it was. But there would have been light even in the main peasant times. I think there would have been light from fires and people's houses, still, like to some degree, but you wouldn't probably have to go very far. Maybe like, I'd say like a probably 20, 30 minute walk, and you could probably see the sky heaps clear.
Yeah.
Back then.
On an average night.
Or like, you go on between towns, you're walking, it's like a day's walk between there. It's like, oh my God, the sky's amazing.
Yeah. It would be incredible. Yeah. Well.
So I feel like that would have been awesome to see.
Yeah.
But do you think it would have, it wouldn't have been too different. It's not, the sky hasn't changed very much in thousands of years.
I just think that unless you or me definitely went out, like probably 5 hours from Sydney, we're not, I reckon it still must have an effect. The amount of light, artificial light.
Somewhat. It's not like, so if you look at, there's one side of the globe that if you're looking at it on Google Maps, it's like all water. There's no land at all. Imagine being there on the opposite side of the earth where there's no land.
That would be amazing. That's the thing. That's when you get the crispest night sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what it looks like from space.
Just looking out into space.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it would be more expanse for some reason. Like you wouldn't see as much. What do you reckon?
Well, you're not blocked by the half of the earth.
But yeah, all right. Well,
but
you can only look in one direction. You can only see so much. Would you be seeing a lot of stars? Do you think they're so spread out?
Yeah, I think you'd see tons, but you'd see twice as much as what you do from Earth. There wouldn't be more spread out because your distance that you're actually covering from in space to Earth, like low Earth orbit or something, to like the thing is such a minute amount of distance compared to light years they are away, right?
Yeah.
They're like thousands of light years away.
We should do stargazing.
Yeah, I really wanted to do
That'd
that.
be cool.
You wanted to do that too.
I did in Tasmania. Unfortunately, got rained out.
Tasmania. Where the weather goes.
I don't know that song.
Oh, it's Pond.
Oh, okay. All right, man. I think we're
wrapping it up.
wrapping up.
But that was good. I think we
was good.
touched on some topics as much medieval as we know, or like interesting, like, medieval being like such a large
It's a
topic.
massive era to cover, and I mean, it is just localized in Europe.
Yeah.
So
you localized. So we went a bit more interesting for you guys.
yeah, we went a bit globally.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed and went, this is the medieval era of the whole world and folklore and stuff.
And thus concludes another tale of Double Dose.
We'd like to thank you guys for joining us in today's episode of Double Dose. And, it's always wonderful to see. Oh, what a fancy day we've had.
Top of the morning.
Top of the morning. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.